How do you become a successful online content creator? That's a question that everybody is asking these days. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this episode on this show tonight. But not just that, but how does your life prepare you for the space that you find yourself in? Our guest tonight I've been waiting to have a conversation with him, and he's going to share with us his journey, his pivoting, his changing careers, and where he is now. And he's going to share with you how to be successful. Welcome to the show. If you're new to us, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. And here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health, take charge of your life, avoid complications, create the life you've always wanted, and go to the next level. You've caught me in the middle, and I can say in the middle now of Vlogmas, right? Vlogmas, every December when content creators come aside, they try to expand, improve, grow, improve their content, improve their offering. And the benefit to content creators like me is that we get to tweak and we get to try new things. And the benefit to you, our audience, our patients, our clients, our customers, is you get to see us grow and improve. And sometimes you get to see that live and in person and in real time, like you've seen so much this month. So my shout out goes tonight to all the people who are doing Vlogmas. You see the logo right up above me. If you're out there and you see that logo on any video, any content that's being produced or putting out, I want you to go over and I want you to support them. You may not normally even go to that type of content or read or consume that content, but this month is an exception because you're going to go and let everyone know that you are supporting the drive to get better. And to all my content creators out there, my colleagues, way to go. I'm loving that we're doing this all together. All right. If you're new to me also, remember to put new in the comments so that we can give you a hand clap and a shout out and some music. So glad that you're here. If you've not already done so, go ahead and watch the videos that we've done this month. They have been incredible. This month, I'm highlighting people who are, wherever they find themselves, doing what they do. They're doing their thing and they're making it look so simple. But as everyone will tell you, it takes work. And we're taking a behind the scenes look this month at all these people. And you've seen the graphic, right? This is what our week looks like this week. If I can get that to come up. There we go. All right. Those are the people that we've been talking to. Last week, I was fired up. And this week is no exception. And we've talked to Dr. Raymond Andrews. We've talked to Dr. Ruby Lathan. Tonight, we're talking to Pastor Kirk Nugent. And then we're coming through the rest of the week. So you do not want to miss any of those episodes. All right. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for being there. If you're out there, give us a shout out. Give us a thumbs up. And we'll be happy to talk to you. And we'll talk about some more things at the end of the show. But anyway, enough of all of that, right? Wow. I'm going to tell you, even before this gentleman knew it, and even before he's been on this show, which is right now, he has been influencing me, and he's been influencing you because a lot of what I do comes from watching him, okay? He is that impressive. He is an expert in live streaming. He's a coach. He's an accomplished content creator. And most recently, he has a new position. I'm going to let him tell you about that. He is the head and he is the driving force behind how it all works. You can find him on kirkrnugent.com and he'll tell you more about that as well. And here, of course, on YouTube, you can find him at Kirk R. Nugent. But there's a bunch of stuff I can say about him. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring him up to the stage. Pastor Nugent, thank you for being here, man.
Man, I'm excited to be here, man. This is awesome. This is phenomenal. I finally get a chance to be on the Dr. Dwayne Wood show, man. I'm excited. No, but man, listen, I won't lie, man. Let me just say this real quick. Real quick. Mm-hmm. I admire. I did a Vlogmas not last year, the year before, 2020. And it is a monster. It's 31 days of content. It is a monster, y'all. So I kudos to you. You're on day 14. You're literally halfway there. I tip my hat, sir, because it is a bear. But if the things that you learn coming out of that thing is just absolutely amazing. So just want to say kudos to you for that. And again, just excited to be here, man. Excited to be on the show.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah, Vlogmas is it can be a beast, but we're enjoying it and we're learning. So
Indeed,
before
indeed.
we go any further, I mean, we're going to talk about your story and so forth. Why don't you take just a minute and introduce yourself to our audience?
Absolutely, man. My name is Kirk Nugent. I go by the Geek Speaker Preacher. This is what the title that people have given, have accepted it with both arms. Where it's like, I am a self-professed Jesus geek, right? I love all things technology. I love all things ministry, and so where that intersection is, you usually will find Kirk. But listen, I'm a content creator. I am a YouTuber. I am a remote producer, which basically means I produce shows, whether they be live or pre-recorded, or videos for YouTube or for other social media platforms. And I also produce podcasts. This is what I do. I like to tell people that the view from the producer's chair is actually quite good. There's perspective from the producer's chair. There's things that you learn from the producer's chair, and in fact, one of the biggest things that you learn from the producer's chair is that you're not really in control. One of my sayings is this: your live stream is your digital storefront. Your live stream is your digital storefront, because there's no greater way for people to experience your greatness than for them to see you do it live. Just no greater way. There's something that's magical that happens while live. There's something that is electric that happens while live. There's something that's almost, spiritual that happens while live, because you don't have any control over what people are going to say, what they're going to ask while live. And so live is when you get a chance to do some of your best work. I want to see people utilize this vehicle of live streaming to get their message out there, whatever that message is that's on their mind and heart. I want to see people use live streaming in a way that really allows others who are searching for answers that can only be found in the stories of our lives. I want to see them get a chance to interact and engage with them while live. And so that's me in a nutshell. I'm excited to be here on the show. Dwayne, thank you again for having me.
All right, man. Yeah, there's so much that you packed into just that that introduction. So really, really appreciate that. So the first question
I try to weave it in there, man.
And has nothing to do with what we're doing now. Do you have all your presents wrapped? That's the first thing.
That's a good question. I do a lot of my shopping on Amazon, as you can imagine. being a content creator and being an Amazon influencer, I do a lot of my shopping on Amazon, and I always check the box that says "wrap the gift." So yes, the presents are wrapped. The ones that have arrived, at least,
Right.
and the ones that are on their way, they will arrive wrapped. So the answer is yes.
I love that. Love that. Yeah. Yeah. It always seems to sneak up on me. I think they change the date every year, but that's a whole nother story.
I feel like they do. Yeah. It's a valid thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, man, and there is so much that is packed into your life story. And as you know, we're highlighting people that we've seen in the space, people who are in a space, who are really kind of doing things. I mean, going back, tell us a little bit when Kirk Nugent thought about what he wanted to do. What did that look like for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I wanted to be an aerospace engineer growing up. An aerospace engineer. I don't know what it was about, so engineers are people that are essentially fix things. They find solutions to large scale problems that most people will either give up on, or there's too many moving parts for them to figure out how to put it all together, how to figure out how it all works, right? So that's what an engineer has always been in my mind. And I just thought, man, aerospace engineer, right? Helping folks figure out things pertaining to space exploration and, getting out of this world, right? So that was a thing for me back in the day. And I was just kind of taken with that thing. But one of the things I also realized is that I'm a visual learner. I'm a visual learner. I learn hands-on. I don't learn very well with theory. I don't learn very well with someone standing up front and just lecturing. And so the classes that I excelled in were classes where they gave us something tangible to do. And I just remember saying to myself, there should be more, this is a precursor, but there should be more teaching that's done in this way, the teaching that's done in a way that allows people to put their hands on it, to get their hands dirty, to feel what it's like. And so a lot of the things that, okay, with the engineering mindset and I'm recognizing that, man, some of the math and the equations were not going to work out. I recognized very quickly, like aerospace engineer, maybe I was reaching a little too high. So I decided to go into technology. And when I was getting into college, technology was not like that broad thing, like what it is now, where you have multiple different areas and, disciplines and expertise and all this stuff. It was just technology. In fact, my degree is, I have a bachelor's of science in engineering technology. So engineering technology, I just put the two together. And wouldn't you know that I of course went into the IT field and became a tech support person and rose through the ranks, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Even while in college, I was actually a staff member at the college that I attended, Andrews University in Barron Springs, Michigan. I was actually staff while a student. I ran 3 different departments on campus: the business department and the education department and the Andrews Academy. So I ran those departments. I had actual students, peers, working for me while I was a student myself. And I left there. And wouldn't you know, the first job out of college, Dwayne, was at NASA as a tech support specialist. Like come full circle, right? I wanted to be an aerospace engineer. I gave up on that because of the math and all the other things. And then my first job out of college is at NASA in Greenbelt, Maryland, at Goddard Space Flight Center. Just, mind blown in terms of just, that whole full circle thing coming back around. Never would have thought in a million years. My aunt actually is the one that reminded me that I wanted to be an aerospace engineer. And here it is, I'm working at NASA. It's just the way God kind of orders your steps sometimes is mind boggling.
Wow. Yeah. And to think that, so the math and the formulas kind of took you away from that, but you ended right back up right there, right?
Yeah, I was right back there.
So this idea that you can get to a place by lots of different ways, I mean, shows up early in your life.
Absolutely. One of the things that I think is as kind of a recurring theme that has punctuated my life is that I didn't know this term back in the day, but I am a third culture kid, meaning my parents are Jamaican. They migrated to the United States shortly before I was born. And by shortly, I mean months. They were pregnant with me when they came. And so I was born here. And then we in New York, and we quickly moved to Florida. So the third culture kids have a attribute to themselves, and it's called being able to live in multiple worlds. So at home, I lived in Jamaica. I mean, that's my take on it. Both parents were Jamaican. We had a Jamaican home. They didn't know any different. I mean, we just happened to live in the United States. But when I went to school, I was American. But I was never allowed to really be a true member of either. So my Jamaican family and older cousins who were born in Jamaica had the accent and the scar to match. They would say to me, "You're not Jamaican, right? You're Yankee picnic." I've heard that in my entire life. And then my friends who were American, Black American, whose parents went through this struggle and, rights and all of the different things. They ate the different foods. I didn't do any of that stuff. And there are certain words that I pronounce differently. So they looked at me, they're like, "You're not American." So I lived in between these spaces. I know I'm not unique where this is concerned, because there was a song that came out in high school, when I was in high school, that was called Born Americans. And it's just so perfect. It just perfectly classified what I was. I was in between these two worlds, but not really a member of either. But the idea of a third culture kid is that they live between these two spaces and they learn the language of both. And they learn to be able to translate what's happening from the perspective of the worlds that they are interacting with. And that has been a hallmark throughout my entire career. One of the things that I would say is a skill set that I've taken into every single thing that I've done is being able to learn the language of the space that I was in and be able to effectively communicate with those that I was trying to talk to. So rising through the ranks in leadership in IT, speak the language of the C-suite and the technician. And so it was a natural fit. People were like, Kirk, tell Kirk to come to the meeting. And after, a couple months of that, it's like, let's just make him a leader because he can explain it both at our level and at the level of those who are going to be doing the work. And so that became, again, one of the things that allowed me to rise. And it's something that I would teach students when I was working in higher ed. I'd say to them, no matter what discipline you're in, I didn't care if you were in social work, music, if you were in business and finance, you needed to learn the language of technology relative to your industry. Because if you learn the language of technology relative to your industry, you will rise. You will be seen as head and shoulder above your peers because you can understand your industry through the lens of what everybody is talking about in the world platform. And I put it to the test. My life was an example of being able to rise through the ranks. I know I'm talking a lot, man. Let me
no, man. This I love this because it really and it's funny that we were talking, the other day when we were doing our tech check, and you said something to me that I actually have shared. So we talked 2 days ago that I've shared to several people, and this is the idea that you're talking about right now, that the lens through which you see something colors the understanding of that thing. And so if you're an IT person, and we were talking about the Bible, if you're an IT person, you see the Bible through IT. If you're a physician, you see the Bible through physician. If you're a street sweeper, you see the Bible through that. And if you embrace that, there is a richness that comes, right? Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. And it's almost like a spice of life because you know it from your perspective. And when you hear it from somebody else's perspective, it's the same thing. You can hear the undertones of what you know it to be, but you're kind of looking at it from a whole different side now. So it takes on a new flavor, right? This in my opinion is the spice of life. When we talk about being multicultural and, bringing everybody to the table, it's bringing those perspectives, it's bringing those experiences and allowing people to not feel less than or greater than. It's allowing everyone to bring their contribution to the table and say, this is how I see it. And for us to be able to understand it and appreciate it for what it is, not better or worse, but just for what it is. And there are those that are going to need to hear it from that lens and from that perspective. And so just to kind of close the loop, I went into technology leadership, and technology leadership allowed me to go and do training across the globe, working for an NGO, the faith tradition or denomination, I should say, that both Dwayne and I belong to is the Seventh-day Adventist Church. So I was working for their headquarters and I was able to go across the world and train. And why was I successful doing that? Because I would get to the place and I would learn the people. And so when I was training them on how to set up these complex, technology systems and ERPs, I was speaking to them in language that they understood, as they say, the common vernacular. I would give them examples from what I had experienced with them. And I would say, this is like that. And so because that went so successfully, I remember traveling to South Africa and the guys there were like, man, I just did one training session for their entire division IT
staff. And I mean, literally from all across the region, which is 23 countries across Southern Africa and into the Indian Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean. But we did that training and people left with such a rich understanding of what was being trained. The division leadership said to me, how do we get you to come here? We need you to come here and work with us. We've not had this experience before. And so it wasn't necessarily because I was so technical. It's because I've always had the ability to reach across the aisle, to say things in a way that allow people to really sink their teeth into it, because I'm not trying to share it from my vantage point. I want to hear and listen long enough to understand what words and phrasings will allow you to understand it and have it actually drive home the point. So that also led me into higher ed as a technology lead, but again, doing some of the same things, learning the language of the industry of higher education. And how can technology come alongside as a partner? As CIO at Oakwood University, I would sit with my tech leaders and we would look at the enrollment report. The technology team, we would look at the enrollment report. We would look at the numbers of folks who were going on academic probation. We would look at all the different trends that made a university tick. And because we did those things, my team was able to speak to solutions that were specific to the problems that the broader campus was facing. In short, I didn't just have a tech team. I had a higher ed tech team, and I made it very specific to that. And we won awards. I hate to toot my own horn, but you know what we say, we can't do humble on the live. We won awards because of that thing, man. We did. And I left there, went into another higher ed spot, but I always felt the call of God on my life to just do something for me, to be in business for me. Always felt that what I had to offer and to share was bigger than any one job could fully contain. So I finally took the plunge right at the beginning of the pandemic to do my own thing, to go into content creation, to be a remote producer, and to kind of share Kirk's unique flavor of leadership and media and technology and how it all works with the world. And that's where, we kind of bring to current day. I know we have one last piece of that, but I wanted to stop there.
Yeah, man. So let's I want to dig into this thing that you just said, man. And you don't realize what you just Please. Dropped on us. So you took your tech team and you went and you got the grade report. You got the kids who were going on probation. You guys sat around and you looked at it. Well, that had nothing to do with technology, man. What were you doing?
Nothing to do with technology. Yeah. We nothing to do with technology. We looked at academic probation numbers. We looked at enrollment numbers. We looked at the recruiters numbers. We looked at the numbers from the places and regions of the United States that were coming to the school. Like, where were we being successful? And all of that did is it gave people an awareness. So I never had a problem with my directors coming to me and saying, hey, Kirk, we need such and such piece of equipment for the server room, just off of a whim. Why did I not have that issue? Because they recognized the temperature of the room they were sitting in. Does that make sense? So when the enrollment numbers were down, we all kind of looked at one another like, this is a tight time. We're not going to go to administration and leadership and to our colleagues, directors of different departments across campus, and ask for things that, you would only ask in times of plenty. Right. You are going to be figuring out ways that we can get over this current hump. And we found ways to bring money in. We found grants. Oh my goodness, there's just so many different. When you allow people to really understand the environment that they're in, they become very creative. And I cannot take the credit. My team that I had when I was at Oakwood, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Yeah.
Wow. So the environment informed the decisions that you guys made. So even though the environment that you were bumping up against had, I mean, it had to do with technology because you guys were running the technology for the school.
Very true.
But
who produced those reports?
Right. Who produced the report? Yeah, but you were able to see things from the standpoint of the registrar or the academic dean or the math person because you saw what their data was.
Yeah. And many times we saw it before they did. And we were able to give them insight and perspective on some of the things of what those numbers even meant.
Right.
So it was a game changer for us. And again, I just go back to the whole concept and idea of, speaking the language of the people of the industry that you're in. And one of the things that I always say to IT folks and media is that it's a tool, right? So in technology and media is an industry of its own. But it is only relevant as it is used in other industries.
Ooh.
So, it's only relevant. The technology, if we just had technology for the sake of technology, who would use it? It's a tool. So we use it in higher ed. We use it in medicine. We use it in law. We use it in finance. And we use it in very creative and unique ways. We use it in sports. We use it in home technology. We use it to make our lives simpler. We use technology in technology is the middleman, but it's never the point. So what I would always tell my folks is you have a skill set that will never be the point of the business that you're working for unless you're in the tech field. And so you want to make sure you understand the industry that you're in. Doesn't matter which industry. But if you're an IT person, you want to understand the industry you're in so that you can provide perspective and solutions relevant to that particular industry. So that's the thing. Media as well. So if you're a coach, author, consultant, and your friends keep on telling you you're the best kept secret, it's not a compliment. It's not a compliment. They're telling you that because they want you to keep your prices right where they are. They're telling you that because they know you have not been discovered yet. And why have you not been discovered? Because you haven't gotten your driver's license. Now, I know that doesn't make sense. I'm your live video coach, but I also like to liken that to having your driver's license. I firmly believe that being able to live stream is going to be like having your license. It used to be a time where only select few did the driving. That's what we are doing now. That's what Dwayne's doing now, what I'm doing now, what several of the guests that he's had on this week are doing now. It's just a select few that you see on these screens that are doing the live streaming. But there will come a time where live streaming will be as common as going around the corner kids will be live streaming. You get the point. And so the reason why you haven't been discovered is because you haven't figured out how to use the vehicle. The vehicle is for discoverability. And so that intent, that end goal or end game is going to be different from person to person to person to person, because you will use the tool for your purpose, right? Relevant to the calling and the gifting God has placed over your life. And I will use the tool for my purpose, relevant to the calling and the gifting God has placed over my life. So that is the differentiator. Media technology, it's never the actual point. It's the vehicle that gets us to the point.
Wow. And so you jumped into the conversation we were going to have at the last half of the show, but that's all right. That's okay. Cause I really want to talk about a point that you made there. Cause in your list of when you talk to people about being successful in content creation, one of the things that you say is solve a problem.
That's it.
So you can have media, you can have technology, but if you're not solving a problem, what's the point?
Pointless. Yeah, because I mean, all the media and the technology in the world is solving a problem. It is allowing you and enabling you to solve a problem for others. So in whatever field, I remember like it was yesterday when I was this whole content creator game, and a mentor of mine said, Kirk, and this person is not a believer in any way, shape, form, or fashion, but they said to me, Kirk, if you're looking for the limelight, if you're looking to be popular, if you're looking for like the 100,000 subs, if that is your goal, Get out of the business now. Save yourself the heartache. And I'm like, what? I mean, I want 10K subscribers. Why is that not a good thing? He's like, it's a good thing, but it's not a solid enough why to get you over the hurdles and the obstacles and the pitfalls and the valleys and the dark days and the issues and the struggles. Oh my goodness, it's not a strong enough why that's going to have you do a deep dive on a platform that you really are not 100% sure you even want to use, and you may never use it. It's not a strong enough why to get you to do the things that will be successful, that will allow you to be successful. Rather, seek to serve. He said that. I'm like, seek to serve. That sounds wildly religious. And this brother is not religious. So I'm looking at him. I'm saying, seek to serve, say more. He's like, look, find what your audience pain point is and make your content, okay, the medicine that everyone prescribes for that particular issue. You got this issue? We're prescribing Kirk Nugent's channel. Kirk Nugent's channel, he has the medicine. Go to his channel, get the medicine, solve your problem. I said, wow, never thought of it that way before. Blew my mind. And I stand here today, 6,300 something subscribers later, here to tell you he was right. He was absolutely right. You seek to serve, you seek to solve a problem. This is why people will come back, and you will have the most amazing messages that will come through. And again, you don't do it for the messages, but the messages help you to recognize that you're on the right track. Folks will send you me a message and say, hey man, your channel is the reason why I started my podcast. Or they'll say, man, I was struggling with this and this and this, and your video helped me to get across the line. It's like me and you were up at 3 a.m. in the morning together working on my issue, and you helped me solve it. And I cannot thank you enough. I get these messages all the time. And I'm honored and I'm humbled, but I'm also floored, because these are people that I would never meet in a lifetime were I to just do my normal, regular thing in the normal, regular way. Content, and particularly live, have the ability to upend your life and 10x your reach, your perspective, and your realm and sphere of influence and possibilities. Yeah, that thing, it's a game changer of all game changers, man.
Wow. Now, man, you keep talking, you keep dropping this stuff, because you just did something there for me, right? Because you put content creation in my perspective, dude.
I know.
Did you hear what you said?
I specifically said it that way for you, man.
You said make your message the medication.
That's right.
For what people are suffering from.
Yeah,
man. That right now, just okay. We can stop the stream, right? It's like
that's it.
Wow.
And what I love about medication is that it is prescribed. You got to get a script. And that's the beauty of it, is like the algorithm is prescribing your content. Mm-hmm. People who have taken the medicine and found it to be good and found it to solve their issues are prescribing the content. You have this issue, go get this content and it will solve your problem. And that to me is like it's the cheat code. Once people get that into their spirit, it's not, the algorithm is not fighting against you. It is wants to help you connect with the people who need your content. But are you giving the algorithm what it needs? Are you giving it what it needs? Are you giving people what they need to be able to be your mouthpiece? Those are critical in this content creator game. I know we kind of danced all over the place, but that's where I hang my hat right now.
Right.
And I mean, I approach the entire content creator space with analytical mind. I am a certified project management professional. I have a bachelor's in engineering technology. I am a certified Scrum Master. So I look at systems for a living. Like my life is systems. I also have a touch of OCD. I think my wife would argue that it's not just a touch, but I look at the world in systems, and I see it. I see it. I see it. I see it all over, and I see how people can leverage it for their benefit, and for the benefit of the audience that they want to serve, if they would just follow the process.
Mm, mm. Well, hold on, wait. So I'm hold on to that right there.
I'm holding on. Hold
on to that right there. Let's back up for a minute. Okay, so Kirk Nugent, aerospace engineer. Okay, math is the thing. We're not going to do that anymore. We're going to do science and technology. You're like at school running departments while you're in college. Mm-hmm. Where did you end up after that, right? I mean, immediately after graduating, where did you end up? And give us a quick whirlwind tour of your career to this point, because there's some stuff I want to talk about, but that sure. Back there makes sense as people hear that. Okay,
got it. So I so right after college, there's a longer story here. I'm just going to skip over it. But after college, my first job out of college was at NASA. So at Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland, I was working as a level 2 technician for ODIN, which stands for Outsourcing Desktop Initiative for NASA. And so I was working for a contractor that changed hands multiple times. And if anybody's in that contractor world, you know, when the contract is up for bid, you go with whoever wins the new contract, you hope that you can negotiate to get more. But I'm going to tell you, I worked at NASA for 3 years. And in those 3 years, I worked for 4 different companies. And I said, I need to get out, because I just knew there was going to be a time where the bid was going to be done again and I wasn't going to be picked up. So I got a chance, an opportunity to transition into to be the desktop support specialist for T. Rowe Price, working downtown Baltimore, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. This is an investment firm. T. Rowe Price does the college savings plan. Everybody's familiar with that. So I worked there for years as in desktop support, and then I applied internally for another job as a market data analyst. So I was the IT guy for the trade desk. I was the IT guy for your portfolio managers, your fixed income traders, your equity traders. I managed things like StockVal, FactSet, Reuters, Bloomberg, right? For if those names mean anything to you, you know what I'm talking about. And I did that for a number of years. And then the position that came available, working for the Seventh-day Adventist World Headquarters in Silver Spring, Maryland, the position was technical support specialist in their finance group. I was uniquely qualified for this position because I had spent years working for the trade desk at T. Rowe Price. So they transitioned me over here, and this is a whole other story. But then get a chance to work and train IT professionals across the globe on how to set up this global ERP, which was the church's finance system. And so I set it up, of course, for the General Conference, the world headquarters, but I also set up for any of the 13 divisions across the globe. So I went to places like India and Ukraine. I went to the division office there. I went to Thailand and Korea, and it's just so many different places, so many awesome, phenomenal places that job allowed me to go. Of course, it did take me to South Africa, and I shared that they wanted me to come there and be their training specialist and IT director. So I did that. And while there, I was able to have under my purview the media department. And that kind of, opened my mind and my appetite for media. Transitioned from there to Oakwood University here in Huntsville, Alabama, as their CIO. And then also they put the media department under me. So when I went to step out on my own, after being IT director for Wallace State Community College, I decided I'm going to go full steam into media. And that's where, kind of brings us full circle to what we are today.
Wow. Whirlwind. Now, there's one thing I want you to add in there, right? Is you have a family.
I do.
Right?
I do.
And at what point did you meet your wife, and how in all that you're doing, all that you did, right? We're coming to full circle to today. All that you did, how did family fit into there? How did you guys negotiate that and work it in? And then share a little bit about that for me.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I met my wife at prayer meeting, Wednesday night prayer meeting, one Wednesday night at Miracle Temple in Baltimore, Maryland, and she was also in the IT field. In fact, the people who were mutual friends introduced us because she was looking for a job at the time, and they said, "Hey, Kirk's in IT." So I was actually helping her to find work. That's how we met, and we became friends before dating. But yeah, so we met that way, and then we started dating. This is all, this is all while I was in that NASA T. Rowe Price timeframe. So we dated, got married, and then while we were married, I transitioned to the General Conference of World Church Headquarters for the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and while there, we had both of our kids. So we had our son Carson and our daughter Kenzie. So we had all of that happened in Baltimore, Maryland, while we lived in as they say, the DMV. And then we transitioned to South Africa. We moved to South Africa when my daughter, our youngest, was 4 months old. I did not want to move to South Africa. In fact, my wife is the one who was like, "Let's go." I was like, "Nah, my family's worked way too hard to get to the States. I'm not leaving." But she had lived internationally, and she's a preacher's kid, so she had done the whole move thing before, and so she's just like, "Yeah, man, I think this would be great." Her sister met and married a South African pastor years ago, so they actually live in South Africa. So we were able to live near to them when we moved there. So that was a blessing. And South Africa is just far more family focused. I'm not trying to throw shade, but y'all know that American culture, where families are concerned, can be toxic. So, the hamster wheel, just to go, 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 go. So South Africa was really good for us. As a small, as a young family with young kids, South Africa was perfect for us, actually, in that time frame. And then being able to transition from South Africa to Huntsville, which is also smaller city, way smaller than Maryland, really allowed for us to just kind of solidify ourselves as a family unit.
Wow. So we're global traveling, we're raising a family, we're
That's
building
right.
a career, and I'll tell you, one of the things that I admire about you guys is that your careers intertwine and support each other. Composition, and let me give a shout out.
That's
Composition is your company.
That's right. That's right.
And so I just love the things that you guys are doing. So when I see you doing something, I know Kanik is right there doing some other stuff as well. Yeah. And it's just amazing to see. And then now you've got the kids. I saw you're on Instagram. I saw the recital that you just posted, and
that's right. That's right.
so amazing, amazing. So you took a plunge, right? You made a decision that you were going to leave, and I was going to say traditional, but this now is becoming traditional, right?
It is actually, yeah.
That you left where you were in a job, and you took the plunge into full-time content creation. What was going on at the time? How did you make that decision, and why? Why did you make that decision?
In hindsight, I think, man, there's so many different things. So that decision was probably the culmination of the better part of 10 years. When we launched the business, we launched it when our son was born, and we launched it because with the eye towards Kanik doing web design, and I would do media. Even though at the time when we launched the business, I wasn't even into media. I just said, this is something that I'll want to do at some point. But for now, we need health insurance. So one of us are going to have a regular job, and one of us is going to work in the business. And we had just been building the business. Huntsville was a place where we had gotten a chance to be stable for probably the longest, and the business really kind of flourished here. Got involved with Business Network International and just made multiple connections. So because the business had been flourishing here, we had already been doing some little small contracts here or there for media things that I was providing to people. So when the pandemic hit, there was some untenable scenarios at my current job. Just difference of opinion in terms of safety, where COVID was concerned. And I said, man, This is crazy. I remember having a conversation with my daughter one night, telling her, I'm going to be going back to work. The office had closed down for a while, but they deemed IT essential, so we had to go back in. And so I remember having a conversation with both kids, but my daughter was the one that asked me this question. She said, "Daddy, do you want to go back to work?" I said, "No, not really." She's like, "So you don't even get a choice?"
Mm.
That was the dagger. I think that was the dagger. And it just kind of kicked off a series of events. A friend of mine, Pierre Quinn, gave me a book by Jordan Rayner called it's titled Called to Create. And I remember reading the book and thinking to myself, wow, God, I hear you, like really loud, louder than I've heard you before. And so we decided that, now is as good a time as any. Our bills were at a place where we knew we could do this and struggle a little bit and kind of make things happen. So we decided to take the plunge. I remember putting in my resignation, and I gave them a 6-week window. I said, I'll give you a 6-week notice. I thought I was being helpful, Dwayne. I thought I was being kind. They fired me on the spot. Now, I shouldn't say fired. They asked me to leave that same day, the day I gave them my 6-week notice. And I remember being a little upset about that until the HR lady said to me, "Kirk, because you put in your notice, they can't fire you. They actually have to pay you for the 6 weeks." And I got a 6-week jump start on building my business. I will never forget that. And so, yeah, we launched out, and we knew we wanted to provide specific services. But here's the thing that we also knew. We knew that if people were going to know that we had these skills, we needed to be able to showcase them. And so this is why I've coined the phrase, your live stream is your digital storefront, because my live show is literally the catalog that my clients look through and say, "Hey, season 2, episode 6, I want this design for my show. Can you do that?" And I'd say, "Yeah." And I would try things on my show that no client would allow me to do. And so some of them would tank, some of them would work, and people would be like, "That's gold. Can you do that for me?" I have clients now who say, "Kirk, I don't even want to put any limits on you. Just whatever you dream up, it'll be good for me, because my live stream is my digital storefront." So people want the same magic that I have on my show when I produce theirs. So hopefully that gives you some of the perspective.
No. Yeah, man. Oh, wow. So it's a thing. And man, as you're telling the story, and let's make a point to folks. As you're telling the story, I think a lot of people may get the idea, or as they watch you, I guess, let me say that, they may get the idea that all the decisions that you made and all the things that you went through, it was always, "Oh yeah, I know it's going to work out."
Oh no.
Right?
No.
But there were times when for instance, you weren't sure what was going to happen. You knew you wanted it to work out, but you weren't sure.
Yes. I knew I wanted it to work out, and I knew I had dabbled in doing things before, but there's nothing like not knowing what tomorrow will bring to light a fire under you, in terms of being intentional, being just hungry for success in a way that you've never been before. The other thing I love about entrepreneurship is that when I look at my calendar, I cannot. I look at the appointments. I look at the client shows, the different things that I'm doing. I cannot say to anybody, I knew that these appointments were going to be here. Because there are months where I look at the calendar and it's blank, and I'm saying, "Okay, God, what are we doing?" So, it's the ultimate faith journey, that the most, wild ride I've ever been on. There were times, I'll say, in South Africa where me and Kanik, we had rough moments, living outside of our own home, our own country, not knowing the language, not being a local. We had really good friends, but they just could not fit or meet the need that we had. There were good times, there were bad times. We look back on those years with fondness. We love them, but we have to also be honest about the fact that, there were bad days. There were bad days at Oakwood as well. As a CIO, there were days, and we got hit with ransomware while on my watch. That was rough. Those were some dark days in leadership. and as a technology professional, just, you know, trying to navigate a new terrain. I'm so glad that you brought up this point. I'm always cognizant of the fact that there's something to be said for, you know, taking in the entire journey, not just the highlight reel, because, you know, the highlight reel, you know, that makes up maybe 10% of the journey. Right. 90% of the journey is either the grind or failure, you know. So I'm so glad you brought up that point. It's so critical for people to have both sides of that perspective.
Right. Now, one of the things that I've started saying to people is that the line between the known and the unknown is where growth happens.
Oh, that's good. Right there.
You know,
that's where growth happens. Absolutely.
I talk about Steve Harvey a lot, and Steve Harvey says, you know, people look at me and they think I showed up here. I showed up with this.
Yeah.
But they don't know the back rooms that I played where there are only two people that came out. The buses that I rode around country with comics that we were all grinding and we were doing our thing. We played show after show and nobody knew. But now they look at me and, you know, I'm Steve Harvey, and they're like, man, I want to be like Steve Harvey. But do you want to do what Steve Harvey did?
Oh, yeah, you don't want to.
Right?
You don't want to. You don't want to. You know, I think it's Kevin Hart, another comedian, that says, you know, it took me 22 years to become an overnight success.
That's right.
You know? Wow. Nobody wants to know the 22 years. All they know is they went from not seeing me to seeing me.
To see me, right?
A lot.
Yeah. Right.
And they're just like, wait, you just kind of burst on the scene. No, I didn't. I put in work.
So man, there are two things I want you to talk about. Okay. Number one, and if you guys don't know, Kirk was recently appointed as the media pastor at our church. Right. Okay.
At Oakwood University Church. Mercy.
At the University Church, Oakwood University Church. Now that's a huge deal because you're making some history, correct?
That's
because
correct.
You are the only media pastor in the regional conferences, which is a group of conferences within our church. Mm-hmm. But you got to that position because of the history that you traveled.
That's right.
Tell us about that. Tell us about that.
Yeah, you know, this is the crazy thing about living on purpose, living in purpose. You put forth the effort and the energy, sometimes with a hope towards what you think is possible. But I'm going to be honest, you know, the whole media pastor thing, it blew my mind. It's not even something that I ever thought to even hope for. And I remember, of course, during my introduction, I said to the church, I stand here a representation of what is possible when we are inclusive of the gifts God can use. And that's something that I have been saying for some time, but I did not know God was going to make my life an example to that end. So, you know, the cafe, the virtual cafe that I started on Friday nights that has become this big, huge thing, the different spaces and communities that I'm creating and working in, everything that I do isn't necessarily like overtly religious or ministry focused, but because I bring me and my full self to it. Again, you know, they call me the geek speaker preacher, self-professed Jesus geek. Because I bring my authentic, vulnerable, full self to whatever work I do, there's always going to be a component of what drives me. And what drives me is my faith. And I think that that's what really opened this door of opportunity to be able to be in this role that heretofore did not exist in the current role and manner that it does today. I'll say this as well, Dwayne. Yes, I'm the only one in the regional work, but there are only 3 others in the entire North American division. So within North America, there are only 3, including me, media pastors within our faith tradition. So it's something to be said It's something to be said. And there's so many different, pieces of the journey that if any of them are missing, I don't see how I get here. And this is why I like to say to folks that your lived experiences inform, what you have to offer. Your lived experiences inform who you can speak to, because you have gone through it. You have notoriety, you have credibility with the people who are going through it now. And so you can commiserate, you can understand them in ways that others can't. I mean, when Jesus was sending out the disciples, the 12, he said to them, I want you to go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, not to the Samaritans, not to the Gentiles, to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Now, why did he say go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel? Well, he sent them there because that's who they are. That's their own lived experience. He sent them to the lost sheep of Israel because they are the lost sheep of Israel. And they can resonate with them. They know what oppression felt like to be under Roman authority at that time frame. He sent them where their lived experience would give them credibility. And I think that's what God does with all of us. He will send all of us where our lived experiences have credibility. Now, the verse that everybody likes to shout on, we overcome by the blood of the Lamb. And that's the part that we stop at. We don't read anymore. The blood of the Lamb. That's where we do the lap around the church, where we swing from the chandeliers. That's the easy preach, as they say. But the rest of the verse says, and by the word of our testimony. And the testimony is your story. The testimony is your lived experience. And some of us grapple with that because there are things in our lived experiences that we have not shared with another person on the planet. This is the vulnerability piece that I talk about in successful content creation. Successful content creation requires us to share the ugly, the things that did not go well, the things that you are not yet victorious over, but you're striving every day. That's where people follow, because they want to resonate with not necessarily what's perfect, but what's real. And that's the space that I find myself in now. And I'm just super excited and humbled and honored to be in this space and to blaze a trail, because I hope not to be the last. I hope to be the first of many media pastors who will use their unique skills and talents for the glory of God, in the capacity that, never. I'll say this one last piece, Dwayne. I am an ordained elder, deacon, licensed and commissioned missionary. When the leadership looked to say, can we do this? Can we make him a media pastor? It's not as if God had literally put all the pieces in place. I don't know what else to say there.
That's so. And you started saying this a minute. I mean, just watching your life, man. It's almost as though you're standing on. I mean, you're walking down the road, and God is just throwing stuff at you.
It seems to me, it feels like that sometimes.
Right? So there's somebody out there right now who's watching, who will be watching this video, and they look at Kirk. They say, Pastor Kirk Nugent. And they're like, I can't do that. I can't be like him. I can't do this. So and the title of this is How to Be a Successful Content Creator, right?
Yeah.
So your life has kind of given a blueprint, but what are some points that you can give to people, some advice? Somebody who right now is like, yeah, I'm not going to do this.
I'm just going to piggyback on what we just talked about a second ago. It's going to come down to what can you answer for people? What is the answer you have for people? And here's the thing that nobody wants to say. You can have the answer and nobody wants to hear it from you, because the packaging is just as important as the efficacy of the answer. So what's your packaging? And are you willing to share with people how you arrived at this answer? I work with a lady who is a multimillionaire, and she tells people openly that she was over $250,000 in debt in consumer credit cards. And so you say to yourself, what? This is an embarrassing thing. Credit score was in unspeakable numbers. She shares this stuff openly. What would be embarrassing to others, she shares openly because that's her packaging. And when she packages it that way, people will stop because, truth be told, their packaging looks similar. So we want it to be a scenario where it's like, hey, look at me, everything is going well, I'm perfect. Let me know how you can be perfect too. Nobody wants to hear from that person. Nobody wants to hear from that person. This is why the person who has always been fit generally is not the greatest fitness instructor. You want to see the before and after picture. You want to see the transformation. You want to hear them say, yes, when the hot sign turned on at Krispy Kreme, my car automatically steered into the drive-through line, and you know that tension and that struggle. When you say that kind of thing, they're like, okay, this person is me, I am them. Whatever worked for them is going to work for me. I'm here for the journey. Because the packaging is the same. Everybody has your life story has answers to issues and struggles and problems that people are facing. And when you are bold enough to begin to share with people those answers, you're going to find that you'll find your tribe. You will be a successful content creator, but you've got to be willing to share your packaging. This is what it looks like underneath, guys. I'm dressed up today, but if I were to just lift my shirt up a little bit, you're going to see scars here from when I was not like this. And this is how I got those scars. This is how I got out of the space where I could stop getting those scars. The packaging is, in my opinion, one of the most critical pieces. You want to answer a question. You want to be consistent. You want to be vulnerable. Those are my main three things. But the reason why people are going to accept the answers to questions that you have to provide is because they've gotten a chance to know you. Not the perception of you, not the facade of you, but really who you are.
Wow. That is, man, there's so much in there. And I'm going to say this right now. You're going to have to come back.
Let's do it, man.
You're gonna have to come back and just dig into some of these things, because as you're going through, man, it's almost like everything you say, I'm like, okay, let's stop there. But I say, no, I can't stop him. I gotta let him talk, let him give some more stuff out. But wow. It has been, and I share this with you. It has been just a pleasure, kind of watching you from when I first came on in our channel, and I started looking out to see, okay, who's out there that I can look at, that I could pattern what I do after. And so let me say this first of all: if I'm doing something that is not working, it's not Kirk's fault. Okay, okay. Let me first say that it is not his fault. But yeah, man, you have given a blueprint, and what I love is that your offering and the information that you give and what you pour into the community is selfless. I mean, you get on and you're just sharing and you're just doing your thing. And I think that is why when I heard that you were going to be our media pastor, I sent you a text and I said, man, God has his hand on your life. And I'm so proud of you. So yeah.
Man, that's so awesome. I receive it. I mean, and it's one of those crazy things that there invariably there's going to be that, percentage of people who have their issues. But I want to tell you, man, when that announcement was made, when that flyer went out, I was overwhelmed with the outpouring. And what it was, the overwhelming piece is just like you. People are saying, man, that's a good fit. And if others can see that, that's when I said, okay, God, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's good,
sure.
man. Appreciate you.
Well, man, we've been talking so much. Let me just hop over this. We got a visitor here, Gary. Hey, Gary, thanks for coming through, man. He said thanks for the authentic conversation, man. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Awesome. Thanks for coming through, Gary. I'm gonna give you some music and some hand claps there. But why don't you do this for me, Kirk? Take a moment and tell people where you are. How can they reach you? How can they connect with you? How can they engage you if they're interested in getting more information?
Yeah. Listen, man. So he's got it on the screen right there. That's me, Kirk Nugent. How it all works. I sit at that intersection of technology, media, and ministry. Technology, media, and ministry. And if you've got a live show or a podcast or some content that you have in your spirit, you've been thinking about it for a while, and you're saying, "Man, I would really like to learn how to get started." You're definitely somebody that I'd like to talk to. If you're an author, coach, consultant, and you're trying to figure out ways to create steady streams of referral-based opportunities, definitely somebody that I would like to talk to. If you are a content creator, and maybe you're a person of faith that wants to be a content creator, you are absolutely somebody that I'd like to talk to. And so what I'm going to do is throw on the screen, you have my YouTube channel and my website there on the screen already, but I'm going to actually put up on the screen next to me here my QR code. And if you scan that, that's going to take you to my digital business card. And that digital card has my YouTube channel. It's got my courses, all kinds of things. But also on that digital card, you have the opportunity to grab 15 minutes on my calendar. I would relish an opportunity to chat with you, hear your vision, and kind of give you a little bit of guidance. And let's see if we're a good fit to work together. Sometimes those 15-minute calls are just opportunities for me to get to know somebody new. Other times, those 15-minute calls have led on to long-lasting working relationships and partnerships where I become members of their team and they become members of mine. So hit me up. If you're interested, even remotely, about getting into live production and remote producing and even doing content creation for ministry. I'd love to hear from you. Scan that QR code with your phone. You know how to do it. Pull up the site, and you'll have all of my information right there. And I want to just say a word of thanks to Dwayne for the opportunity to be able to come on the platform to chat with your audience tonight. I think it's phenomenal what you're doing in this space, and I'm excited to see what God is going to do through you.
Awesome, man. Well, I thank you. I appreciate that. And like I said, we're gonna bring you back. So we got to get that for next year or the year sometime.
Absolutely.
All right. Oh, good. So if you just hang out for a minute, and I'll close out, and then we'll be back. We'll chat for a minute. Wow! What an amazing conversation that we've had with the geek, speaker, preacher, pastor, content creator, consultant, coach. I mean, I can keep going on and on and on and on, right? I gotta pull up a dictionary to get all of these. Well, we really appreciate him for coming through for us. Let's go ahead and let's hop over before we close out, and let's do our amazing question wheel. Let's do that real quick, and then we'll come back. So let's hop over. All right. So there's our amazing question wheel. And if you've been here, you know what this wheel is about. This is our question wheel. If you would like your question to show up on the wheel, go ahead and send those in to us. We'll give you a shout out and we'll put the question there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spin the wheel. We're going to get an answer or get a question that I will answer. And here are the rules. It has to be real. The answer has to be concise, practical, something that you can use. And I've got to do it in 45 seconds. That's right, 45 seconds. Yeah. And if you guys know me, sometimes 45 seconds is a little small, but we're going to try to do that. What we'll do is we'll cut that out. We'll put it on our social media platforms, which you can find right there. Dwayne Wood MD. You can find us on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all those places. And I want you to, when you find it on those platforms, I want you to put it in the comments, hashtag I was there, right? So hashtag I was there so that I know that you were here watching this with me. So let's go ahead and let's spin that and let's see what question we're going to answer tonight. Round and round and round it goes. Where it stops, I don't know. Yeah, I've got to find a different thing to say when that's going around, guys. Yeah, I know. All right. Okay, so what are some signs of insulin resistance? What are some signs of insulin resistance? Okay, let me see if I can do this in 45 seconds. All right, let's get 45 seconds on the screen. Let me remember the question. Okay, I know what I'm going to say. Here we go. So 45 seconds. What are some signs of insulin resistance? Well, there are a few signs that I want to talk about. One is something called acanthosis nigricans. That's kind of a velvety feel and dark coloration that you'll find on the skin, typically on the neck, the knuckles, the elbows, and under the arms. You can also have skin tags, right? So if you see someone who has developing skin tags, that may be a sign of insulin resistance. And then, of course, increased weight, right? Increased weight can be a sign of insulin resistance. Those are the things that you should look for. Let's see, did I do it? I think seconds. Okay, so we got that. So anyway, so yeah, go ahead and make sure that you find that on our social media platforms. That should show up sometime after 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to be doing at that time, but that's okay, right? So once again, guys, I am so excited that you took time to come and join us, come and join me today. We are in the middle of Vlogmas, literally in the middle of Vlogmas. You know, we've day number 14. And once again, you see the logo up there. If you find any content creator, any content that's out there, videos, posts on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, go ahead and support that content creator as they learn and expand and improve what they're doing. For us here on this channel, if you've not already done so, go ahead and give us a thumbs up first for this video. Send it to your family and friends. Log in to your account and subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up, and also hit the notification bell. If you don't have an account, you can create a free account on YouTube and do the same thing. Subscribe and hit the notification bell. If you know someone who wants to subscribe and they're having trouble, their technology, they're challenged, go ahead and help them to do that so that we can continue to grow this community. You want to come back and you want to make sure that you are engaging with us and you're watching, and that we've got so much more that's coming up for the rest of this month. You do not want to miss it. Thank you for being here. If you've not already done so, also, you can go over to our website. And remember, we have a free offering that you can get. Let me pull that up real quick, and then we can pop over there. Here we go. Let me see if I can show you. So Dwayne Wood MD, and if you hit the button there, you see the free 7 keys to success. If you click on that, you'll get this screen, and you can download that free offering, 7 keys to success. Learn how successful people create the life that they want, right? You want to make sure that you get that as well. This is Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. Glad that you're here on the channel. I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health, your life, avoid complications, and create the life you want going to the next level. We'll see you tomorrow night. Good night.